And we've got all the right in the world on our side. And there ain't no reason to be afraid. And there ain't no reason to not take the challenge dead on. Because I'm going to tell you who we come from, folks. We don't come from some weak, jellyback, spineless people. That's not who we come from. None of us. And it doesn't matter what color you are, what nation your folks hail from, how much money you got. We all share the same name. We are Americans. And at Bunker Hill, there was Americans. And at Fredericksburg and Gettysburg, there was Americans. And at Iwo Jima, raising that flag on Suribachi, it was Americans. And at Pork Chop Hill, there was Americans. Quezon, there was Americans. And on 9/11, there was Americans who ran towards those burning buildings. That is who you share your heritage with. You do not share your heritage with a weak and ineffective people who cower at the sight of trouble. You share your heritage with a strong and brave people who are determined to hold on to their freedom and for the freedom of future generations. Guys, it's time for us to stand up and be that generation. It's time for us to stand strong and proud and remember who we are. That we are Americans. And as long as we stand as the vanguard of freedom in this nation, freedom will survive you. Not only survive, it will thrive. So guys, it's time to put on our packs. It's time to fix those bayonets. It's time to get ready. We got a fight on our hands. And our fight is not for us, for all those generations that's going to come behind us. Let's save America, folks.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. That all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Hey, folks, welcome to the program. It's that particular time again where we're going to talk about truth bombs and turd balls. Every now and then we kind of have to be reminded of just simple truths that get missed, and not like we need a lot of reminding, but sometimes it's good to, well, reflect on the turd balls that we're given, right? Do me a favor, folks, raise your finger me. So share this program right now. Please share this program right now. You might enjoy what's coming your way. Might give you a little break. Maybe your week's been going hard. Maybe you just need a little bit of rest. Maybe you want to kind of take it easy, reflect on both good things and bad things at the same time, and learn. By the way, you need to reduce some stress in your life. I've got this for you. We've extended it, by the way. We've extended it. And it's exciting. And I just got to tell you, I truly appreciate all the people at CB Distillery. I can't tell you how just phenomenal their product, their people are. So we've extended this for you. Let me give you a link that you can go to right now. You want to do this because it sells out really quick, I'm telling you. And for CBD, it literally makes a difference in your life. So CB Distillery has solutions. You know, they work with your body. It's natural. Help with stress, pain after exercise, even mood and focus. And it's all made from the highest quality, clean ingredients, no fillers, no junk, just premium CBD. Imagine waking up rested and enjoying your day without those nagging aches and pains. Ask people in chat. Look at chat. Right now, people have been using this for a while in my program. And one of the things you can bet on is once you start using it, people continue to use it. It's because, folks, it's the bomb. So imagine waking up rested, enjoying your day without nagging aches or pain. That's the real win with CB Distillery Solutions. That's why over 2 million people trust CB Distillery. Mine is the pain roll-on. Look, you want better sleep. You want to reduce your stress. You want to feel good in your own skin again. This helps the pain. It's amazing. I never thought anything could help the pain fast, but it does. CBD from CB Distillery. Right now, it's 25% off. I'm going to give you a code you can zap on the screen. 25% off, folks, your entire purchase. Visit CB Distillery. Use promo code Jovan. That's cbdistillery.com. Promo code Jovan, cbdistillery.com. I'm telling you, yeah, it's great. It's one of the things many, many, many times each month gets me through the night. My elbows, my arms, different things get wonky. You wake up, you just ache. You know what I'm talking about? The ache that kind of eats at you, right? That eats at you. And it's enough to wake you up. I reach over to my side table, grab my CBD, right? My roll-on from CB Distillery, roll it on, and it is truly like seconds. I'm back out, doesn't bother me for the rest of the night. You can get it either a roll-on, you can get it the pain stick, the cream, whatever. It all works the same, right? But it's the bomb, so you should try it. Also, today's program is brought to you by the fine folks at Gold Co. Now is the time to protect your money with gold and silver. And all I'm asking you to do, this one's really simple. I mean, I don't know why you couldn't or wouldn't do it, right? JoeVonLovesGold.com is the site I've done with my partners at Gold Co. I just want you to request your free gold and silver kit. That's it. That's it. I started telling you this when gold was on the rise from $1,400 to $1,500. Hell, I think silver was only about 20 something. Today, right now, this very moment, gold's $4,059.70. Silver, $49.12. That's because people all around the world, governments, are sucking it all up. They know something's going to happen. Nobody believed me when I said gold was going to hit 2,000. Nobody believed me when I said gold's going to hit 4,000. Now, this is not necessarily about buying gold and silver. This is to understand why nations buy it up, do it, keep it, and fortify with it. And if you have a 401k or an IRA, retirement savings account, you want to pull some of your money out you've been putting forward for years, you know what? You kind of screwed the pooch. They're going to try to take 50% from you. It's ridiculous. It really is. Please just go to JoeVonLovesGold.com, fill out the form, get your free, right, kit. Just feed your brain. Okay, we're going to talk about some truth bombs and turd balls. This might give you some things as you come into the later part of the year where you're going to have family around. Speaking of that, this is the time of season when it's going to start getting colder. You're going to have more time inside where you need to start planning how to plant. You're going to have to escape the system, folks. Prime example. You have to understand when it comes to government and countries, you're hated. We all are. We're hated. You better start training like it. Have you ever thought about that? You ever thought about that? We're not loved. We're not embraced. We're not endured. We're freaking hated. And in many ways, we're the carbon they want to get rid of. So on your Christmas list, for your family, for yourself, put it out right now. One of the things we did is continually put out materials to make sure that when crap hits the fan, you can take care of yourself. Now, I want to warn you, you got to pay attention to my books. I stopped putting out ebooks. Food Force Bible, huge hit. But people immediately cloned it. I'm talking literally cloned it, all junk on the inside. You got to look for my name. So we got the Food Force Bible, which is where it's your gift to give or get to basically plant it once and then forget it. Some people are not that big on that type of garden. So we also did it for fruits. How about you plant that fruit tree, but instead of having to wait 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years for fruit to maturity, it's all that wonky stuff. What if it could be done in months? We teach you an ancient secret and hack, and we teach you a better way to grow them fast and grow them beautifully. If it's just baseline stuff, you hate digging and you hate weeding, right? Then here you go. Here's a way to do it with your garden stuff. But all of these are out there. They're just for you to protect your assets, folks. This is the time of year you got to start thinking about what you're going to give somebody. You could always, give them a tie. Why don't you give them a way to save their backsides? Why don't you give them a way to have something that is around for decades and decades and decades when they think about you? Okay, we're going to cover truth bombs and turd balls. Interesting thing. Twitch. You can watch me many channels, Getter, Rumble. Now back to YouTube. I'm back on YouTube again, by the way. By the way, if you don't have it, let me see if I got it here. There you go. I lost 259,000 followers on YouTube. Way back when it started, when Donald Trump first wanted to run, I broke the story about what shadow banning is and how it's done. Freaking went huge viral, right? Back then, first administration. And I got banned for it. I've been off that long. They just took it. They stole it. Facebook's done it several times. So I'm back on YouTube. If you like YouTube and you want to follow on YouTube, if it's the preferred vehicle you do it, you can now do it on YouTube. They had to do an agreement with the government to avoid prosecution. So everybody that got banned, I got banned talking politics and Donald Trump. I got banned for talking Donald Trump and explaining how technology is pushing crap in your minds. Anyway, you can follow me now on YouTube, right? So we're going to have some truth bombs and turd balls. Going to give you a couple of minutes to let people know. You might like this. We're going to cover some very interesting stuff. We'll get started right after these messages.
This crazy world is telling you your sons can be daughters and your daughters can be your sons. When will the madness stop? Never. So you have to decide, will you comply or defy? They tell us all, you will own nothing, eat bugs, and be happy. Is this why America's largest food processing plants and food supply plants keep burning down? Do you really think this is a coincidence? Of course not. The system is telling us right to our faces what they have planned for us. You have a choice. Comply or simply defy their plan for us all. Defy the system's plan and execute your own plan. Abundant, safe, secure natural food supply. Introducing the Food Forest Bible. This bestseller by Jovan Hutton Pulitzer is the single most complete, executable, easy-to-follow plan for sustainable, self-managing food production for self-sufficiency and food security. For the first time ever, a coffee table, heirloom quality full color book which unlocks the ancient secrets of creating a food forest. Imagine planting in a way which requires no digging, no pesticides, and creates massive ancient food abundance. No fooling. Food forests are the ancient secret to planning and planting once. And have your own Garden of Eden, which will feed your families for decade after decade. Buck the system. Buck the New World Order and order your very own copy of Jovan Hutton Pulitzer's Food Forest Bible. Learn how to create a sustainable, self-managing, natural food production for self-sufficiency and food security for your family. Side yard, small yard, backyard, backlot, or even lots of acres, the Food Forest Bible works for everyone. Order on Amazon, hardcover, softcover, or ebook. Don't comply. Expertly defy the system.
Hey, folks, let me remind you something real quick. When you go into the latter part of the year, quarter of the year, it's a time for me that I'm able to really hustle on the books that we've been working on for you. And my books are always about giving you solutions, okay? Giving you solutions. I want to let you know one thing. Jan said this. With gold at $4,000, I can't afford more than a flake. I want to give you a heads up. In the traditional investing sense, that's correct, right? However, I'm going to release to you something that I've done forever in my own life and helped others do in the whole bit. Just because gold's $1,000 an ounce, $2,000 an ounce, $4,000 an ounce, let's just say you don't have any retirement or investment dollars. So by default, it doesn't apply to you, right? I'm going to turn you on to a new type of gold rush. At different times through history, it's applied. And I'm going to provide to you 2 books. 1 book, so I'm going to teach you all about precious metals. Okay? And if you're willing to work at it, your basis, that means what you spend. This is for people who aren't normal investors, have nothing to invest or whatever, but you can do it, okay? Your basis is, I'm going to help you show you how you can get precious metals in your life that you might not even pay. Let's say for gold, you might not even pay $100 an ounce. It can be done. It takes hard work, but it can be done. You can build wealth that way. I'm going to show you again how some of these riches are just laying out on the ground. And you can do that. Like most people don't even know. Did you know you can still get incredible land for about $100 an acre? Most people don't know that. Right? So I'm going to be bringing you these things. Think of them kind of as an insurance policy, but I want to let you know right now, nothing like that comes easy. It's hard. It's hard. It's very hard. But I'm telling you, the very first time I did it in my life and I started practicing it, I could take something that I had $150 in, and in very short order, turn $150 into $5,000. No gimmicks, just hard work. It can be done. And some of you may have seen, you watch my books, what I'm releasing and stuff, right? But anything I do in the publishing world is to make your life easier. Now, probably the next book that's going to come to you the fastest, I've got this whole series called Eating Ancient. We're finishing them up, right? And basically, if you go back in time, and you can look back in the 70s and stuff. Here, I'll show you something. Let me show you something. I'm going to show you a little clip that will remind you just about the time we started putting on weight. These little things will help you remember. This is kind of a period when all our lives changed. Watch this. Times back then, when we had those simple devices, were better. An also interesting thing is we weren't fat and as sick. We just weren't. And so I got to looking at this phenomenon, and we got all these additives and all this stuff, and we're limp tards and dependent on prescription tards and all this other stuff. And you're right, Mr. Hader, all that was American made. So I decided to plow into a series and find the oldest recipes in the world, because food's a big part of our lives, folks, right? But I wanted to get back to the purity of food. The purity of food. where the ingredients were very simple and we didn't have all these BS additives and all this convenience, which has killed us. It's killing us. It's killing our children and future generations. So we have gone back in time for every culture. And we're bringing you a series called Eating Ancient, whether it be Chinese or Roman or Greek or biblical or whatever. And we have spent an enormous amount of time pouring through archives and stuff and collecting those old recipes. So you can go back to eating great and simple back before all this other stuff. It's an ancient Chinese secret. You're right. All of this stuff. And the series is basically called Eating Ancient. The first one we'll probably release is Eating Ancient, the Roman edition, right? So post-Christ days. I think you're going to like it. I think you're going to like it very much. And it's very simple, right? Simple food, simple ways, great taste. Back when they didn't have all this crap additives. And that's one of the things we're working on. So those are what you can expect here in short order coming to you. But there are always better ways to do things. And if you know the story of my great-grandfather and picking cotton, it's kind of the same way, right? It's kind of the same way. Good stuff. Anyway, okay, so folks, share this right now. We're going to get started. We're going to do some truth bombs and turd bombs. And by the way, for you guys on Twitch blocked the program momentarily. You know why? We had to change the word turd on Twitch to let the program go through. So on Twitch, it says truth bombs and T-bombs. I thought it would have been bomb, but it was the word turd. Hang tight. Let's get started.
Warning. The following program has been rated Gilligaff and is intended for open-minded audiences. If the truth offends you, or if you are allergic to focused intensity, intellectual athleticism, or the occasional F-bomb or even irreverent humor, please switch off now. If your delicate sensibilities need to be worried about or addressed, might we recommend the Underwater Basket Weaving channel to you? Otherwise, sit back, enjoy the wisdom, insight, and wicked sense of humor.
Cut the crap. How many times a day do you want to say that to politicians, the elite, the loony liberals, the fake news media, and the gender-confused, emotional socialist snowflake crowd? Cut the crap is your secret weapon for fighting for our freedoms and our great republic. It all begins with a massive mental enema, freeing you from the toxic news and politically correct views, which constipate your consciousness with stinking thinking. Your host, Joe Von Hutton Pulitzer. He's known for calling out politicians and telling them to cut the crap. You've seen him on virtually every television network and listened to him on Coast to Coast Radio. And now he's here to help you learn to fight for America. Culture, race, and American politics. They all have one thing in common. They all need to cut the crap. Now, here's your host, Joe Von Hutton Pulitzer.
Okay, folks, we're gonna talk some turds. Yeah, truth bombs and turd balls. Although I guess on Twitch you can say shit, you just can't say turd. They find it offensive. You know what a truth bomb is, right? Truth bomb. Right? Just total common sense truth bomb. Here it is. I told you earlier, like, you got to protect your family. And I think this is very smart. You are hated, so start thinking like it. Do you have any indication that your government cares for you? I just want to know, do you have any indication anywhere? Can anybody, and the operative words government, can anybody give me one example that our government cares for us? Not the hogwash they do. We are so expendable, it's nuts. period. They just don't give a crap. They just don't give a crap. Even to the point that they will manufacture votes. We're going to cover that turd ball. They will manufacture votes to the death of our country and us. And so you should think about this one sobering thing. You are hated. Start training like it. Simple advice. Sometimes memes, right? Sometimes memes can really hit and cut to the truth, something you've never thought about before. But when you think about it, right? When you really think about it, it's just true. It's just true. Ellie says the Alaskan bush is not very helpful. It's hard to get into the Alaskan bush. I know what you mean. I have found, now this is my personal experience, if you're really going to go into the Alaskan bush, one thing that makes it easier is have a warm fire and pass around the vodka. I have found, it's just me, if you've got a warm fire to invite those Native Alaskan ladies in, sit by the warm fire and pass around a lot of vodka, it's just really easy to get into the Alaskan bush. Now, I spent a lot of times outdoors. I spent a lot of times in the bush. I'm telling you, not only I spent a lot of times in the bush, I have spent a lot of time outdoors in the wild too. It's just the truth. Oh, that's not what you meant? Oh. Ellie, who's up there, Ellie said, yes, that's election bush, but up here we have harpoontang. I haven't heard that one. Harpoontang. Joe says he tends to get lost in the bush, but then again, Joe dates exclusively exceptionally liberal women. I can't even do that. Okay, so you know how memes can tell the truth really directly? How about this one? When you really think about it, now this is very kind of smack you up the side of the head logic, right? Think about this, okay? Yes, that's why they call me the Bushmaster. But anyway, just this one meme, I remember when I saw it and I thought, holy crap, that's the truth. In nature, if you watch the way God made it, many times the most dangerous of all, God made it, right? God made it that color was naturally God's way of saying, turn your ass around and run and don't mess with this person. Right? Think about that. And so that's why I like memes, because sometimes a meme, M-E-M-E, meme, why'd they name it a meme? Let me see if I can do that real quick. Hang on, because I don't even know. Hold on. I know it stands for something, but I want to know the reasoning. Okay, let's see what we got. The word meme, M-E-M-E, meme, comes from evolutionary biologist Richard Dawkins, who coined it in his 1976 book, The Selfish Game. Not S-H-E-L, The Selfish Game. Dawkins combined the Greek word mimema, M-I-M-E-M-A, meaning something imitated, with the way genes replicate and spread. He used M-E-M-E to describe an idea, behavior, or style that spreads from person to person within a culture, much like genes pass biological information. Over time, especially with the rise of the internet, meme, M-E-M-E, became a humorous or viral piece of media. So when we call something a meme, what we're really saying is it's a cultural unit that's being copied, adapted, and spread across multiple people, just like gene spreads across generational traits. Okay, there you go. So you got the meme history, and this meme, which you've seen spreading around virally, is actually dead on. Right? Dead on. If you were to think about the people in our culture right now that emblazing these colors on their head to stand out, it is truly some of the most toxic people we have in culture. Am I exaggerating? Am I exaggerating when I say that? And that nutbag in Congress is a prime example. Yes, that color hair, when I see it, is screaming, I am toxic. Now, I've seen conservatives have color hair, right? That's a different type of toxic, right? But it is kind of telling, isn't it? But I also found in this liberal culture we have, because what we're talking about is truth bombs and turd balls, right? Check this one out. This one just kind of strikes truth. Trans women are actually just mansplaining what it's like to be a woman. I can remember the very first time in one of my companies, in one of my offices, I was having a discussion. It was a medical discussion, right? It was a medical discussion. And I was discussing, I think it was about the time when I had just pioneered the new pregnancy test that would actually not only test for pregnancy, but it would test for pregnancy combined with Zika infection or pregnancy with the tortoise test. And I'm having a discussion with some college students who are just interns importing data. And I'm kind of explaining why this is right, why it's a novel idea. And I heard through back channels that one of the girls was offended. Now, when I come to think of it, it was a very large girl with synthetically colored hair. When I think about it, how ironic, right? Complained that I was mansplaining it to them. Now, the mansplaining part was I was a dude and I was giving them details like they already knew, but in order to exercise my dutiness, I was explaining it. No, we were having a medical discussion. That's what mansplaining is. And so when I think about this, isn't that just truth? Trans women, which are dudes playing like they're women, telling everybody I'm really a woman, here's why, are actually mansplaining it. It's true. They're actually mansplaining it. Here's another truth that's obvious out there before I show you some videos. Don't you think that prison is the perfect place for liberals if you think about it? Do you know why? Everyone's treated equally. There's free food, free health care for everyone. Nobody has guns except for the guards. And there are no cars and no gas. Now, I can read that two ways. You're damn right. You're damn right. That is the best place for liberals when you think about it. On the other side, when you think about they try to get those things done, control the food and control everything else, that shows how they're trying to make our world a prison. Anyway, we're talking about truth bombs and turd balls. Here's kind of combination of the two, a bomb, literally, and a turd ball. This guy here, he got arrested. He went to the annual mass for the Supreme Court that's held for the mass. It's, had a tent outside the Supreme Court. When they arrested him, he had 200 explosives. He had Molotov cocktails and he had a manifesto into it, right? His name is Louis Geri, Geri. He was outside the cathedral where they're going to have this red mass for the justices. They always attend a special mass. The police saw him and says, hey, you might want to back out. Where there's going to be an event here. And he says, well, you might want to stay back. I have these explosives. And he did. He had just a ton of explosives, along with a written document that says written negotiations for the avoidance of destruction of property via detonation of explosives. They found grenades and everything else. So that's how we'll start it off with this bomb. And now we'll get into some truth bombs. Here's a truth bomb and a person I was not familiar with. And as a result, I started following this person. I really appreciate incredible clarity. Listen to this.
Social justice is about equity, not equality, right? Not what we all grew up with, equal opportunity, but equity, equal outcomes. So it's redistribution with a view toward achieving equal outcomes for various specified groups. Jesus, in one of his parables, parable of the talents, and you have the owner who gives different talents to different workers. There's one, and then, there's two, and then there's five. He comes back, and one of them has done better with his talents than the others, and he doesn't take from the one who did well and give to the one who did poorly. He actually takes away from the one who did poorly and gives it to the one who does well. I refer to that parable because it really flies in the face of the idea that the Christian attitude ought to be equal outcomes. The Christian attitude is justice writ large, the righteous and equal application of God's law, but not equal outcomes.
I'm going to replay this for you because this is brilliant. I want to tell you one thing historically. A talent is currency. It's coin, a talent. That was the type of coin that was paid. I want you to listen to this message. And this is kind of where even Christianity, even the teaching has been hijacked. Because that is not what the Bible teaches when it says it's got to be equality, or like I say, forgive and forget. No, it's forgive and not to forget. That's Matthew 25, by the way. This is the talents. So this person gives talents to his slave, money, right? Money, and to see what they will do. And you either use it wisely and perfect your talents, which is do something with your talents, or lose them. And we kind of got this ass backwards. This is really a truth bomb.
Social justice is about equity, not equality, right? Not what we all grew up with, equal opportunity, but equity, equal outcomes. So it's redistribution with a view toward achieving equal outcomes for various specified groups. Jesus, in one of his parables, parable of the talents, and you have the owner who gives different talents to different workers. There's one, and then, there's two, and then there's five. He comes back, and one of them has done better with his talents than the others, and he doesn't take from the one who did well and give to the one who did poorly. He actually takes away from the one who did poorly and gives it to the one who does well. I refer to that parable because it really flies in the face of the idea that the Christian attitude ought to be equal outcomes. The Christian attitude is justice writ large, the righteous and equal application of God's law, but not equal outcomes.
This should be taught in school. But this is one of those definitions, truth bomb wise, that got hijacked. And that equality has been hijacked to mean something different. They're always changing the definitions of words. Always changing the definition of words. That's a great piece that if you really understood history, you can look back and go, you know what? Christians were warriors, not jellybacks. And that's what's happened. We become wimps, and they do this by a combination of not teaching us in school, especially history.
I would submit that Israel did not steal anybody's land. This is another thing I've heard in the last couple of weeks, words like occupiers and colonizers and apartheid, which I don't think people understand the history there. The Jews have been in that area of the world since about 1200 BC, way before the first Muslim or Arab walked the earth, 1,000 years before. I mean, Jerusalem was their capital. Okay, so if it's just about who got there first, it's not even close.
This is where history matters. Think of all this stuff going on in March. And by the way, Peaches just told me in chat that the fellow I just showed you, the pastor, evidently he just recently passed. That's sad. We lost a great mind, right? Wow, that's sad. But what I'm doing here is I'm just doling out truth bombs and turd balls because our society delves into turd balls because what they do is they don't want the truth bombs told and they want to supplant the truth with turd. And well, it's your feelings. Check this out.
I have a quick question for anyone who voted for Donald Trump. What are you going to tell your child when they come home from school crying because their best friend was just taken out of their classroom by an immigration agent?
Stop breaking the law, asshole!
Very true, right? Well, what are you going to tell your child when they come home and say, my friend was taken from school? All this feeling stuff. Yes, all this feeling stuff. We went from facts to feelings. It is the truth bombs which are not appreciated, and it is the turd balls they peddle us. Here is a truth bomb about a turd ball that the United States have been sold.
Iranian here with another pro tip for anyone who's not from the Middle East. No one in the Middle East actually blocks intersections to pray in the streets and yell Allahu Akbar. The reason that they do it in your countries is because they're trying to assert their religious dominance over you and claim your country and turn it into Sharia law. Now you know.
The truth bomb there on that turd ball is glaring. Give you an example. When Muslims wanted to build a mosque over the site of where our Twin Towers went down, it came very close to happening, right? But people didn't understand the historic significance of it. World Trade Centers, we're not getting into conspiracies. That's not the topic. Don't go there. They wanted to be where the towers went down to build a mosque over it. At the time, people said, well, you're just Islamophobic. You don't want that. You're just Islamic phobic. Well, let me give you a little bit of history. And let me show you a picture. I'm gonna pull up a picture real quick, okay? And I'm going to show you what people don't know when you don't know your history. Okay? What people don't know when you don't know your history. Now, this will be a huge truth bomb for you if you've never heard this before. And if you don't think everything's psychological warfare and all about playing games with us and all this other crap, right? People really don't understand what's going on out there and how this horrible game is being played. Let me shrink this down on my screen. 1 second. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, here you go. One up. Okay. I'm going to share my screen with you. And then I'm going to give you a story that will help you kind of understand in this world of truth bombs and turd balls why they hide the truth bombs, just like they hide history, because they don't want you to know. So here is in the Wailing Wall. This is the Wailing Wall. You've heard that term, right? Now I'm going to pop it up on my screen. This is where Jews go into the Wailing Wall and they cry. That's why they cry there, right? And they give their prayers and petitions. Now, why do they do that? Because when the second temple was destroyed by the Muslims, what they did is they went in and they built their Dome of the Rock, Church of the Rock, Dome of the Rock. What most people don't know is several things. That's the rock where God talked to Abraham, right? Etc. Long history in your biblical history. So it's a sacred place. It's also the site of the temple. When the Muslims came in, right, they destroyed the temple. All that is left is the Wailing Wall. That's all that's left of the ancient temple. And behind that wall, Islam built a mosque over the holiest of all sites that you would, in Judaism and in Christendom. Right? Literally, right there. And that's why Jews cry at that wall. Now, why is that important? Because it's like the video I just showed you. If people don't know history, if they have no idea of history, they don't understand that building a mosque over top that is a sign we've dominated you. Just like this truth bomb you're getting of this turd bomb, overseas, they don't drop to their knees and pray in the streets at call to prayer. I want you to think about this truth in this.
Iranian here with another pro tip for anyone who's not from the Middle East. No one in the Middle East actually blocks intersections to pray in the streets and yell Allahu Akbar. The reason that they do it in your countries is because they're trying to assert their religious dominance over you and claim your country and turn it into Sharia law. Now you know.
Do you understand the psychological warfare in that? Do you understand what lawmakers in New York and the Dems were pushing for to build a mosque over the site of our Twin Towers? It's all warfare, folks. And all this stuff of them dropping in the streets, and now Minneapolis and other places play it on loudspeakers. The truth bomb is it's all about psychological warfare. In the name of, oh, it's being freedom, it's being free, you got to be free. That's not how it occurs of where it really comes from. It has this twist of a turd bomb of how they're using it to dominate us. Just like weaponizing a word, being indignant. Here's one of the best truth bombs. That's what we're doing, truth bombs and turd balls. Here's one of the best truth bombs I have ever heard.
Excuses, we've been through so much.
We ain't been through shit. Who is we? They, the nigga, have been through shit. The nigga ain't been through nothing. He got free education. He got to go skating. He got to say, F you white people. He got to talk back to the police. The nigga never had that. It's not the same. Yeah. Give a fuck what you say, nigga. One of them is a race of people who was in bondage and enslaved. Another one is a group of people who is everything that they said those people were, but were not. We are ignorant. Those people wasn't. We're savages. Those people wasn't. We're animalistic. Those people wasn't. We deserve what they got. They deserve what we have. So how can we be offended by a word we're not being called? A word that we're proud of? What's up, my A word that we're proud of. And they're not using this word as this word was applied to these people.
Yeah.
This word is being applied with congratulatory. So how can we, come on, we are oxymorons as a race of people.
I got a lot of Mexican friends that say nigga.
I got a lot of white friends that I let say nigga around me.
Yeah.
But we can say cracker, we can say honky, we can say all these other racial slurs with no retribution toward us. That's what they mean by we're victim-minded and we're entitled as black people. We can insult everybody else, openly and freely. We come in people's establishments loud.
That is probably one of the most incredible truth bombs. There's more to it. I'll show it at a different time. That I've ever heard. Ever heard. I'm going to play it for you again. It's so true. It is dead on. Linguistically, right? Where does the word nigger come from? Do you know? What is the history of the word nigger? Anybody know? People think it's slavery. People think it's a bad word. It is the Latin word for black. That's it. It's a descriptive optical term. And no, it doesn't come from Negro. Nigger. It's Latin, period. It is a descriptive, optics-driven visual term of an individual. That's it. Optics. Quick, identifiable optics. That's it. Right? Negro comes as the word transformation to negroid features. Negroid comes from, okay? And negroid, again, comes from a early 19th century classification of people. Okay? Negroid comes from the Latin word Niger. It has a little bit of a, or nigger, sorry. It has a little bit of a old suffix to it, oid, which is where it comes from, which basically in that suffix, oid, O-I-D, it basically means resembling or like. The term negroid, which is where Negro comes from, literally means they are black-like or resembling black people. That's all it means. That's all it's ever mean. Period. Period. Now, I can remember my sisters when I was, and again, I'm just delivering some truth bombs, so you know. It was people from Niger, niggers from Niger, Nigeria, etc. It all goes back to the original etymology of the word. But I can remember my sisters would call me dork, would call me stupid, and would call me mongoloid, right? And I used to get upset when they would call me mongoloid. Just like I used to get upset when I was called hillbilly. Mongoloid. Now, my definition, probably like a lot of you, of mongoloid is kind of like that kid sitting on the porch playing banjo during Deliverance, right? And his teeth go in every direction, right? That's my dad. You'd recognize him if you'd met him in life. He just had his teeth fixed since then. But I thought they were telling me I look retarded. Mongoloid. You know what I'm saying? My whole childhood life, that offended the hell out of me. Till I became an adult and I understood Mongoloid only means you're on the east side of Asia, or you're from the indigenous Americas. That's all it means. It's not a bad word. Never has been a bad word. Technically, there's only 3 types of people, and it all is a visual origins classification. It is not a difference of the human being. It's not a difference of the human being. It is a difference, yes, Mongoloid, which is where Mongols come from, right? You're like me, thought Mongoloid, meant you were a cross between somebody butt ugly, should shave their butt, walk backwards, kind of Down syndrome combined with every affliction you could have in the world, one arm, one leg, and you were a Mongoloid. No, not at all. When it comes to races, when we're evolving from a teaching standpoint, right? Right? And yes, you're right. Retard is a musical term, stanza, repeat, retard. Anyway, again, words. It all comes down to words. When from an archaeological standpoint, what we all break into only 3 categories, right? That's it. 3 categories. And it doesn't necessarily mean totally looks, right? You're either Caucasoid, you Caucasoid. Well, I guess it's all how you say it, you Caucasoid, which basically means you're from Europe or Western Asia. You Mongoloid, which means you're East Asia and indigenous Americas, or you Negroid, which basically means you're Sub-Saharan Africa. That's it. That's it. That's all it means. That's it. And it was just to basically attempt to describe geographical origins. And then all of a sudden we came up with this concept of race, and everybody got put into race. And there isn't. There isn't. It's never been. It's never been racist. It's been like those guys in the red hats. I can imagine 100 years from now, don't you call me a red hat. I'm not a red hat. Those people were evil. Don't you dare call me a red hat. Right? Now, I'm a little different. I admit it. I don't give a fuckazoid. I guess you have like Schiff, hemorrhoids, but there's a lot of different ones. But those are, right? It's just like, come on. Right? Tartarian west of Rome, you're right. They were the barbarians. Barbarians. And so, yes, over time, have people, freakazoid, that's okay. I guess I could be a freakazoid, right? It's words. It's words. But when I saw this one truth bomb, I was like, holy crap. Look at how much power they've done between the word. And what they did is they weaponized it.
Excuses, we've been through so much.
We ain't been through shit. Who is we? They, the nigga, have been through shit. The nigga ain't been through nothing. He got free education. He got to go skating. He got to say, f*** you.
Think about that. He says, Ray, the nigger, right? Right? Was enslaved. And then he says, this other guy, the way he uses it, now what it is, if you want to really, it's the term nigger, it's turned us into something. What people wanted, they just wanted freedoms and to live their lives because they were enslaved. Now the tables have turned. It's been made about color, but yet you have everything these people wanted. Think about that. Truth bomb in this.
Excuses. We've been through so much.
We ain't been through shit. Who is we? They, the nigga, have been through shit. The nigga ain't been through nothing. He got free education. He got to go skating. He got to say, "F you white people." He got to talk back to the police. The nigga never had that.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
Give a fuck what you say, nigga. One of them is a race of people who was in bondage and enslaved. Another one is a group of people who is everything that they said those people were, but were not. We are ignorant. Those people wasn't. We're savages. Those people wasn't. We're animalistic. Those people wasn't. We deserve what they got. They deserve what we have. So how can we be offended by a word we're not being called? A word that we're proud of. What's up, my? A word that we're proud of. And they're not using this word as this word was applied to these people.
Yeah.
This word is being applied with congratulatory. So how can we, come on, we are oxymorons as a race of people.
I got a lot of Mexican friends that say nigga.
I got a lot of white friends that I let say nigga around me.
Yeah.
But we can say cracker, we can say honky, we can say all these other racial slurs with no retribution toward us. That's what they mean by we're victim-minded and we're entitled as black people. We can insult everybody else openly and freely. We come in people's establishments loud.
That's really a truth bomb. And you're right. If you caught on to the three Zoids, yes, the three sons of Noah, and their disbursement across the land. I'm gonna divert a little because to me, words are fascinating and people don't know history of words, right? And somebody asked me, you may be offended, but I want you to think about it, especially after you find out where it comes from. Somebody asked me, why is there the term blowjob when it's not really a blowjob? You ask, you want to know. From an etymology standpoint, the term blowjob, even though it goes much further back than what I'm going to give you, well, its early roots come from the early 1800s, right? It's surprisingly old. And literally, it had a sexual term to it way back in the 1800s, to blow, right? Now, I see Robbie and other people talking about what it is. It's actually not. Basically, the etymology of the word, which could be loosely termed sexual, actually comes from blowing, meaning to boast, to flatter, and it also meant to perform an act involving the mouth. That's it. To blow off steam, whatever. To perform an act involving the mouth, right? It only began in the 1880s through 1890s, believe it or not. Think about it. That term, blowjob, only in the 1880s and the 1890s, when you really don't think about anything sexual, right? Or want to, because so few people bathe. But only then did it become specifically to be related to oral stimulation. The job part of it basically only means a piece of work or a task. That's it. Piece of work or a task, which is why you have hand job, which is why you have boob job. You get it? That's it. That's it. The very first time blowjob was defined for all of us was in the Oxford English Dictionary in 1930, right? They literally put it in the dictionary. Would have been interesting to be in the focus group to see if I agree, but that was in the dictionary. The earlier versions of it in the 1880s, 1890s, yeah, it's a task. Shannon caught that. It's a task. Yeah, we're okay. Don't tell me I have to do that. You know, I mean, you can see it, right? Anyway, maybe that's where the task comes from. Who knows? But even though it was considered risque and underground not to be in polite print, it actually became in polite print in the Oxford Dictionary in 1930. The slang truncation of it, blow, meaning where blow just becomes meaning for oral sex, that started in the jazz era. Where they would say, blow me. And it started with jazz, right? Big cheeks. 1910 through 1920. It is literally not meant to be literal. It is a euphemistic, ironic term. Euphemistic, ironic, toe curling term. And we get the word job from the 1600s. Well, blow me down, says Frankie. There you go. You asked, I gave you. You have the answer. Ask and you shall receive. Not that I'm saying you can use that term, ask for one, and immediately get it. I have statistically found that is not true. It's a myth. Okay. Everything in life's about small moves, folks. Everything in life is about small moves. And if you don't believe your small moves, right, makes a difference, every little bit you learn, check this out.
A city in Belgium offered 3 chickens per household to anybody that wanted a chicken. They had 2,000 families. Raise your hand, says, yeah, we'll take 3 chickens. So they got 6,000 chickens distributed.
People say you learn something new every day. I learned something. You know, we all have different family traditions. We can all have different dictionary sets. I learned from Shannon in chat that blowjobs in her life specifically mean and occur on Father's Day. Now that's interesting.
A city in Belgium offered 3 chickens per household to anybody that wanted a chicken. They had 2,000 families. Raise your hand, says, yeah, we'll take 3 chickens. So they got 6,000 chickens, distributed them through this city. First month, it dropped 100 tons of food waste to the landfill. What? And so not only did they eliminate the landfill waste, all these people now suddenly had chickens. And Pat's done all the math on this and shows that if 1 in 3 households had enough chickens to eat your kitchen scraps, there would not be an egg industry in the United States. It would be completely non-essential. Really? So that's the power of integration.
No, that's the power of understanding if you just take small steps, a few people can make a huge difference. That's the truth bomb there. And I use that as a great analogy. Right? Small steps, very small changes in your life. It's the same way they move us. I've shown you these words. It's the same way they move the meaning of words, which I'm going to show you. Right? Small moves make huge differences. And that's why I always tell you, you're the one with the power. You just don't understand it. Because, see, your thinking is, we got to go change this whole government. No, you just have to make very small moves because you're the cure, and it changes everything.
A city in Belgium offered 3 chickens per household to anybody that wanted a chicken. They had 2,000 families. Raise your hand, says, yeah, we'll take 3 chickens. So they got 6,000 chickens, distributed them through this city. First month, it dropped 100 tons of food waste to the landfill. What? And So not only did they eliminate the landfill waste, all these people now suddenly had chickens. And Pat's done all the math on this and shows that if 1 in 3 households had enough chickens to eat your kitchen scraps, there would not be an egg industry in the United States. It would be completely non-essential. Really? So that's the power of integration.
Think about that. Think about that. And it's, as I give you these truth bombs and turd balls, and I'm going to show you some turd balls in a minute. That's the big thing. Our society, our system doesn't want us, the little guys, to believe we can change anything, when in fact, we're the ones that change it. When in fact, we're the ones that do it to ourselves. Primarily because the system keeps us ignorant, doesn't teach us about history. We don't pay attention. But it's all a coordinated plan. They operate by a playbook. Here's the Turd Balls playbook filled with truth bombs you need to know.
Understand what's going on around you. You are in a state of war, and you have precious little time to save yourself. It's a slow process, which we call active measures. The first stage being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. The next stage is destabilization. What matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems. The next stage is crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, period of normalization. This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to put a big brother government in Washington, D.C., who will promise lots of things, never mind whether the promises are fulfillable or not. The time bomb is ticking, but every second the disaster is coming closer and closer. The danger is real.
We're in a war. I've always told you we're in a war. By the way, as soon as I wrap here, let's go just have a conversation over in locals. Just kind of open the mic for you. Let's just kind of talk what's going on. I'll tell you some of the things behind the scenes and getting all of our election stuff going on, and we'll talk about it. If you're on Rumble, there's a red join button. Just hit that red join, and we can pop over there, and we'll just have a conversation. But is that video not dead on or what? When you think about it, this is why I've always said, it comes down to words, and we're the cure. That's it. It comes down to words, and we're the cure. Now you understand why the whole system teaches you to put everything off. Not think for yourself and not think incrementally. Think about that. It's how the whole system works. And one step that they do, one little step that they do in their playbook, which seems small, it starts with one little city. It's all a seeding. That's it. S-E-E-D, a seeding. It's all a seeding. In a playbook for bigger things, like the playbook they just executed in Chicago.
In light of increased immigration enforcement in Chicago, a new executive order signed Monday by Mayor Brandon Johnson designates ice-free zones within the city.
City property and unwilling private businesses will no longer serve as staging grounds for these raids.
Basically, these guys said, if you're an illegal, ICE is coming in, run to city property, they can't touch you. Or that the business can say, we have no ICE here and they have enforcement. Think about what this guy did in Chicago. This is a big deal. This is a different version of Sanctuary City. This is all words and destruction of American cities, and it's going to come to yours.
In light of increased immigration enforcement in Chicago, a new executive order signed Monday by Mayor Brandon Johnson designates ICE-free zones within the city.
City property and unwilling private businesses will no longer serve as staging grounds for these raids.
The order prohibits ICE agents from using city-owned property to make arrests. Johnson says signs will be posted at city properties, including in the parking lots of Chicago Public Schools and Chicago Park District field houses.
The fact is, we cannot allow them to rampage throughout our city with no checks or balances. Nobody is above the law. If we break the law, you should be held accountable. If Congress will not check this administration, then Chicago will.
This is the third executive order issued by the mayor since the Department of Homeland Security launched Operation Midway Blitz in the Chicago area. Each has tried to limit ICE from operating in the city. Since early September, the agency has reportedly arrested nearly 1,000 people. They've also been involved in 2 shootings, including one in Chicago's Brighton Park neighborhood on Saturday. Johnson has repeatedly said that Chicago police will not coordinate with ICE during its operation here. In a statement, DHS blasted Johnson over the weekend's events, saying in part, just this weekend, he and Governor Pritzker refused to allow the local police department to give our officers backup at the scene of a law enforcement attack. A growing and violent crowd began throwing rocks at our law enforcement, yet their chief of patrol ordered their officers not to help. DHS is referring to a rumored internal CPD memo circulating online, indicated that the chief of patrol told officers responding to the Brighton Park shooting to stand down. Speaking to reporters this afternoon, CPD Superintendent Larry Snelling disputed the notion. He said not only were his officers on scene for hours, but they were even hit by tear gas.
Those who will tell you that our officers weren't there, say that to the 27 officers who were affected by the chemical agents that was deployed by federal agents.
According to Snelling, none of the officers who were hit by tear gas were seriously injured. He also says he's spoken to Homeland Security officials about how both agencies can work together when CPD is responding to an incident where federal agents are involved. Reporting at 35th in Michigan, Emmy Victor, WGN News.
Turd balls, right? I want you to think about this. It's gone from sanctuary cities to sanctuary properties. And the city's doing this. Some of the things that are going on behind the scenes, Antifa stages with the police will tell them how to avoid ICE. Why does the city intervene in this? They want ICE to come to them, get approval, which means they can hold it up. But even if they get forced by rule of law, they're able to give everybody a warning. You've got to see the writing on the wall, folks. Why does the city want the illegals to stay? Why does Pritzker want the illegals to stay? It's really simple, folks. It all comes down to the ballot, not the machines. They get them on the voter rolls as a voter. And once they're in system, they can use them any way they want. And they launder money that way. That's what everything's about. And it's right in your face. That's why I said, we're it. We're what they want to destroy. They don't care about us. We're the hunted. We are opposite. And by the way, votes and money are the same thing because you don't get the money if you don't get the votes. Votes always come first. Period. Votes always come first. They cannot rob the money if they don't have the votes. They can't do the budget allocations for crap if they don't have the votes. They can't stay in office if they don't have the votes. That's the con, always. It's why I rail about the machines. You can take away every machine. The county still has the right for the county employees to count the votes, not us. But did that fix it? No, because they're already on the voter rolls and they will be used. They will be used. Folks, this is why we fight so hard for that evidence to be preserved. That's the game. I got two more things to show you, but that's the game, folks. That's right there in your face. What a city to do. It is all about that vote. All about that vote.
Our courts are based on clear and convincing evidence. Want convictions? Want justice? For what happened in the 2020 election? Then we need your help. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The decision you make in the next few moments could decide whether we ever get our elections fixed or not. Here's why. Trump campaign and allies filed 64 different lawsuits. They all went down in flames. 100% of these cases were presented on "It's the machines," or "The machines changed the votes," or "The voting company executive said he would make sure Donald J. Trump would not win." They all went down in flames. Why? You can't bring theories to court as evidence. No supposed Zoom call or 6-degree polynomial math theory or census data is or ever will be proof of fraud. You can't bring theories to court as evidence. Here's why. In both civil and criminal law, the side making a claim carries the burden of proof, and prosecutors must prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Without physical or otherwise verifiable evidence, a case cannot meet this high threshold. Physical evidence is the key. The question is, did anyone get relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election? And the answer is yes, absolutely. The full forensic audit of Maricopa County, Arizona is the only evidence-gathering work which gathered relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election. Evidence so damning that the system, the deep state, and those who pull the strings of this country have fought to keep it hidden and have hoped to have it be forgotten to time. Almost $3 million invested in time, funds, and efforts to unlock that which the system wanted hidden. But now, that evidence is in danger of being lost forever. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. With the 2026 midterms coming up, the system is going to try to lame duck President Trump and then most likely introduce new impeachment proceedings. This is the evidence which will help win the war which is surely to come. We need to keep Maricopa County full forensic investigation and archive secure and ongoing. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We need your help securing the full forensic audit archives. Don't allow the only testable, objective, and reliable 2020 election evidence fall into obscurity. Millions were spent on getting it documented and tested. This is historic evidence. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The historic Maricopa County full forensic audit effort processed 20,895,610 digital and forensic images of varying formats, resulted in 208 million individual evidence-proof files. The system processed over 58 billion forensic measurements, resulting in over 2 trillion individual base computations. No hopium, no hype, just hardcore forensic evidence. Please make sure the Maricopa County full forensic audit archives survive. Donate now. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, Then please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We can't do it without you. We need you. America needs you. Our future needs you. Please donate now. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. Please donate now.
Folks, this is what it come down to. I'm showing you this stuff. It's the vote. By the way, there's the code. You can zap the screen, right? You understand the fights going on. It's part of what we're going to talk about as locals when I head over to locals next. I'll kind of give you an update. But it's a war. It's a war. And we need you to help with this war because we've lost because the machine cons us. It's all a con. It really is all a con. And when you watch the moves, it's just like saying it's the machines, but then you understand the machines. All the rules are voluntary. There never will be a conviction on them. And that's why they want you to focus on the machines. The system always makes moves out in the open.
California passed a law where anybody can pick your kids up from school without having to call the parents. That is the child trafficking law. That's giving the right to anybody to come and pick your child up because they've been scoping your child out, walking to school at lunch and all that shit and say, I picked that one. And then call the school and say, I'm here to pick up the fucking child. And your child is missing forever. Child trafficking, California's, one of California's biggest exports is children. Keep your eyes on your kids, I'm telling you.
That one kind of bugs me because I look at it differently than most, simply because, my sister was lifted from school by somebody that wasn't a parent in the 3rd grade and trafficked. Last but not least, I'm going to show you some of the turd bombs, etc., right? Etc., right? And for people that don't seem to be up on the know regarding the Arizona audit, there were 3 contracted companies. One was Cyber Ninjas, which is Doug Logan's company. He was considered the lead. The second was Cypher, which is Ben Cotton's company, for doing forensics on the drives and stuff. And kind of interestingly, right after the election, his company was bought up, so he could no longer talk about things, but he was bought out. And then there was my company under contract, meaning, performing the, not like just filling cameras and stuff, really doing the forensics. And that was my company that did the forensics. But I did not create, quote unquote, an audit company. I took my technology, innovated brand new patents of what I'd already been working on for years to understand how to use camera devices, and taught them to do the forensic work required on the physical ballots where the crime is, that if you mess with them, it's a felony, and created brand new types of auditing technologies based on auditing everything. Whereas the other existing heretofore audit technologies were based on pulling samples. And I'll give you the most kick you in the ass evidence that'll help you understand it. In Maricopa, if you look at all these boxes in the background, there were 1,675 boxes. 1,675 boxes. Every one of those boxes are required to be sealed by law after the election. The election's done. In each box, there's 47 pallets. In each box, there's about 8 batches on average. So here's a batch of ballots that were run through the machines. They're put in there with a header card to say, right? It was the header batch. Okay. In the header batch, they get stacked in a row as they're processed. So there were 1,675 boxes. Out of the 1,675 boxes, which is the point, 1,675 boxes. And by the way, anybody can email me directly. If you ever want to email me directly, you can, right? Just email me directly if you have direct questions. Just kind of always let me know who you are, and we can have a discussion. Anyway, here's how this works. Audits heretofore only look at a few samples, and they say statistically, these are right, so everything's right. But let me break that rig to you. 1,675 boxes. Out of 1,675 boxes, only 52 were filled properly, handled properly, labeled properly, and sealed. Okay? 52. Now, the other 1,600 plus boxes were not sealed, were totally out of disarray. When you looked in the box and you should have found the batches with the header cards, you found batches, but each batch only had a few ballots in it. All the header cards were in the bottom because somebody pulled out the batches. The header cards fail. So you did have batches, but on top of the batches, you had all of these BS ballots just stuffed in there. None of them sealed. Now, why does that matter? Well, I just told you in previous elections, the way they do it is they look at a sample of few to tell you everything worked. Now, if you remember what I showed you, you had bleed throughs on the ballots, which confused the machines. You had ballots printed on the wrong paper. You had ballots of different sizes. You have ballots that were duplicated that shouldn't have been duplicated. You had ballots that should have been folded by machines that weren't. You had ballots that should have been color that were really black and white because they were basically a Xerox copy. You had all of these issues in 1,600 plus boxes. Violation after violation after violation after violation. Now stay with me because this is important. Now in those 1,600 plus boxes, nothing matched. Here's how it works by district. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have 5 supervisory districts. A machine folded ballot. This means looking for a physical thing. I'm not looking for the Serbian and the Chinese in the mix of the this and the Smartmatic, Dracomatic, Fractal, Tactile. I'm just looking at the paper, meaning my team, meaning my organization. Machine folded means it was a legally printed in color ballot mailed to somebody to vote. The numbers should have come in on an average of 84.13%. None of them met that. They failed horribly. Almost 10%. They failed horribly across the board. Now, the next type of ballot is a hand-folded ballot. That's where you walk in. They do print your ballot back out in black and white. You fill it out in person, okay? You hand fold it, so they're all folded differently, right? And that's how you tell. Then on election day, they're black and white and they're flat with no folds. Look at the numbers between hand folds and no folds. They made up the difference of what they should have had in mail-in, although they told you it was mail-in. They failed in every place. This is why forensics is the key. Okay? Next. Remember I told you there were 52 boxes. That were only 62 boxes sealed that are supposed to be sealed by law. Now, of course, pundits, Mike Little, they're never going to tell you these facts because it's physical evidence. They're going to keep you on the machines where nothing can happen. But remember I told you there were only 52 actually legally compliant boxes out of 1,675. And I just told you in 1,675, after you take out the 52, all of them had these errors. Let me tell you about the box of 52. In the box of 52 that were sealed properly, well, those boxes had no errors. The batches were there. Nothing was out of order. Not a one. Not a single one was out of order. Not a one. They also had all the folds correct, all the colors correct, all the sizes correct, no bleed throughs, no overages on copies. They were bang on. And the number that they called the end of the election for, statistically, it shows that number was correct. Those were 52 sealed boxes. Now, why were 52 sealed in 1,675 out of 1,675? Well, what you need to know is on election day, Katie Hobbs, Fontes, and their teams handpicked those boxes and said, if we get audited, this is where we'll look, which is why they were sealed off, which is why they said, we did a recount of those 52 boxes and everything's bang on. That's why for my auditing technology, it's the whole damn thing or it's nothing. Because I understand doing a little bit is the con. So I don't care what you say you checked in 52 boxes. Don't give a rat's ass. I don't even care about the machines. The paper, all a lie. But the governor signed off on it, right? The governor signed off on it. Katie Hobbs signed off on it. My information is not something I generate or create as a technologist. It just is what it is. And the paper says you're full of shit. Oh, by the way, when they said they couldn't run all the ballots and didn't have all the stuff, well, they were running hundreds of thousands of ballots the 30 days before using 10 machines. When they said they needed 10 extra days to run it, they only ran 2 machines, and the average batch was less than 5,000. Some of those days they took off. And oh, by the way, after the election was over, by 1 month, they ran in 118,019 ballots. And they still missed their numbers. They never had the right numbers. They don't exist. This is why you do a full forensic audit. This is why it's only about the paper, because it's the only way you can physically tell what happened. So I hope I asked your question. I would perceive you as a troll. That's what you came across to me, but it's okay. Hey, it's okay. New person in chat. Anyway, here's how you help keep that evidence. As everybody telling you, it's the machines. Last one. Let's talk about some of the turd throwing in the form of a truth bomb of this phenomenon called social signaling.
Before we begin this evening's performance, we would like to acknowledge that this theater stands on territory of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Huron-Wendat, and the Petun First Nations. We are also mindful of broken covenants and the need to make right with all our relations.
Kumbaya, oh Lord, kumbaya. I'm a demo Lord. Oh, I care about the people. Look at me. I know what's important. Oh, the poor people don't get the vote. The kids are separated, and it's all lies. It's called social signaling.
Before we begin this evening's performance, we would like to acknowledge that this theater stands on territory of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Huron-Wendat, and the Petun First Nations. We are also mindful of broken covenants and the need to make right with all our relations. And now, please enjoy the show.
Sorry, hello? Sorry. Excuse me, should we go?
Excuse me?
Oh, no, I just mean if we're on someone else's land, shouldn't we leave?
Oh, no. The theater is here now. We'd just like to acknowledge whose land it is.
I'm sorry, I'm so confused. So if we're on someone else's land, shouldn't we do something about that? Or
hopefully we'll enjoy the performance.
Oh, okay, so some of the money from the ticket sales of the show are going to the indigenous communities?
Well, no.
Oh, a portion of them?
No, the ticket sales go to the theater.
So is the money from the bottled water sold here going to the First Nations for clean drinking water, or?
Oh, no, that money goes to Nestle. They're a sponsor.
I'm so sorry. I'm so confused. So whose land are we on? What are we doing?
It's a dialogue.
How are we making right?
Well, there's a plaque you can read in the lobby.
I don't understand.
I'm getting a message from the stage manager that we need to begin the show, so please take your seats. Have a good time.
There's a turd bomb and a truth bomb. It's about the way it goes. It's all bullshit, folks, and it's all words. It's all psychological warfare. I'm just amazed at how many people call themselves patriotic and believe the psychological warfare. I'm just amazed at how many people can be shown hard facts of forensic evidence of the Arizona audit and ignore it. And then there's the ones that are paid to call it a grift. And then the ones that are paid to attack it. Think about that. And those are just some of the truth bombs among these turd balls. Stay in chat. I'm going to drop you a link. We're going to head over to locals. And we'll have a more direct discussion about the Arizona audit and other things that are going on. Share this program. Love you all.
Would you ever eat government vaccines? Feed your family hormones or antibiotics? Never ever do that to your family. So why buy beef the same way you've always bought beef? You're buying meat glue bonded, hormone filled, antibiotic riddled grocery store meat. Say no to supermarket medicated Franken meats and say hello to nevereverbeef.club. Always 100% USDA prime or high choice. That's restaurant grade. Never Ever is not ever just select beef or even standard or ungraded store branded meat. It's simply the very best cut and tasting steak you have ever had. We have never ever given our herd hormones, antibiotics, or even mRNA vaccines. Never ever. Pure blood genetics. We've raised our herds this way for over 30 generations. They simply have never, ever had antibiotics, hormones, or killer vaccines. Grass-fed the way nature intended, in almost 500,000 acres of high pasture environments. Finished off with non-modified feed crops we grow ourselves. We even own our own 210,000 square foot processing plant. And as an added bonus for our nevereverbeef.club members, we age our steaks in our state-of-the-art 780,000 cubic foot aging facility. Only top restaurants do that, so they can charge you $100 or more for a little bitty steak. We age our meat because we want you to have the very best restaurant quality USDA prime or high choice, pure blood, purebred beef at a price your family can afford in these financially challenging times. Sure, you can keep paying the price for supermarket cheap, standard, and ungraded store meat brands if you love feeding your family Franken meat. So never ever settle for less. Join our nevereverbeef.club. Take control of your health and your family food supply right now. Join nevereverbeef.club. We are real people with real families just like you. So we personally customize your order right over the phone. Now that's customer service. And there is absolutely no obligation when we call. You decide what bundle is best for your needs. No hormones, antibiotics, or even mRNA vaccines. Never had them and never ever will. Never ever cut corners on your food supply or family's health. Join nevereverbeef.club now